Please welcome to the stage, Michael Honcoop, Director General of Contact Center Services Directorate at Canada Revenue Agency, and Janique Godin, Director General of Debt Management, Regulatory Affairs, and Appeals Directorate at Canada Revenue Agency.
Good morning, everyone.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah,
it's
good morning.
So nice to see you all here. Thank you, Sean, for introducing us, and Alexa. We're curious, who here knows someone that actually applied for the Canadian Emergency Response Benefit, as known as CERB?
There's a few of them out there, Janique. That's a few. Which makes only sense. It was an extremely huge endeavor on behalf of the federal government to get financial assistance out to Canadians in a time of need. And Janique and I are here today to tell you our part of the story.
So I'm here to represent the IT side of this story.
And I'm here to represent the business side, a little IT business cooperation here in terms of telling our story around the CRA contact centers and how we work together to pull off what has been called on the title slide, a bureaucratic miracle. Let me set the stage a little bit, and Sean hit on some of these points as well. You know, the pandemic happened during our peak season, which I know is all of your favorite time of season as well, tax time, I know. But for CRA contact centers, we were already sort of in the midst of a stressful time. We were inundated with millions of phone calls from Canadians who are also stressed out, trying to get their taxes done on time and without any mistake.
So when the pandemic was declared, we basically frantically moved into business continuity mode, and we had to dispatch IT equipment over the country to 2,000 employees that could answer and call the calls from Canadians all over and work from home. So working in tandem with our business partners, the security areas, the IT teams, we were able to organize pickups and drop-offs to offices all across the country. And the CRA employees demonstrated tremendous tenacity, creativity during this crisis, and finding old equipment all over, and so people could be there to actually answer calls for Canadians.
Mm-hmm. You know, so just a few weeks into our mass migration from bricks and mortar call sites to home-based work, the CRA was asked and tasked to help deliver financial assistance to Canadians, called the Canadian Emergency Response Benefit, or CERB, as I think most of us know it by, in terms of delivering these important economic benefits to Canadians. It was a massive undertaking across many government agencies, and the hope at the time had been that many Canadians, or most Canadians, would apply online. But we also knew that many Canadians wanted to or needed to call us to apply for those same benefits.
So then we asked ourselves, where would we find this immense number of extra call agents? Well, this is where the CRA Army got called in.
So what's behind me here is essentially our footprint at the time. This is us before the pandemic. We essentially had 8 bricks and mortar sites across Canada, roughly about 2,000 employees who would handle calls from Canadians, and at this time it would have been tax calls. But we knew that given the spread of the pandemic, the more and more restrictive public health measures which were being put in place, that we would need a lot more call agents to handle the tsunami of calls that we knew were coming our way. So a call to action was issued to all employees within the Canada Revenue Agency, and we went from looking like that to this. With thousands of agents across Canada, we essentially went from 2,000 call agents pre-pandemic to 7,000, or over 7,000 agents afterwards. And I can't tell you how proud I was of our internal employees who rose to the occasion, many of who have never spoken to a member of public. They either worked in HR, or maybe was a tax auditor or something like that, but we thrust them on the phone to help citizens get the financial assistance in which they really needed. But having so many extra call agents on the phone kind of created another significant problem which we had to deal with.
So with the enormous volume of incoming calls and the large number of call agents, our CRA on-prem contact center solution was struggling. So that is when we had to be creative. So there was no way that we could actually increase the capacity of our on-prem solution just overnight. So we had to sort of think outside the box. And luckily, CRA, with the cloud adoption, strategy, and all the IT investment it had already made, it allowed us to basically pick up the phone and call AWS. With the amazing collaboration of our Cloud Center of Expertise, our Contact Center IT teams, we needed help from AWS to spin off an on-class contact centers that was outside of the box that could handle all the SERB calls coming in, which were non-account specific. And that really helped distribute all the loads, the tsunami of calls across the multiple platforms. But that meant using a hybrid model, which Sunny mentioned earlier. We were able to leverage the existing on-prem and the cloud-based call center solution. So as you can see, our partnership with AWS really came through. We were able to put in place a call center in roughly 48 hours, basically over a weekend, allowing the CRA agents to handle thousands of calls. I won't spill the beans with the numbers. I'll let Michael share those a little later. But this really helped offloading a significant volume of on-prem hosted platform, as we were also in tax season, right? It was the perfect storm. And it really made a difference in our service delivery to Canadians in these really difficult times. So the moral of this story is that here with AWS, the cloud-based contact center solution, it provided the CRA an instrumental platform on which we were able to onboard 5,000 agents answering call and delivering service to Canadians almost overnight.
It truly was an extraordinary effort by all, and it couldn't have been done without the excellent partnership and collaboration between the CRA and the AWS teams. You know, the headlines here, there's a few snippets from headlines at the time, and I got to tell you that, you know, as coming from your, you know, federal tax agency, these are not the normal headlines that we usually get, you know, especially at tax time. And I can't tell you that I've never been more proud to be a public servant. You know, really, you know, in the first month alone of handling the incoming calls for SERB applications, we helped more than 7 million Canadians in the first month alone. And we kept doing that month after month after month for almost a year or a little bit over a year, you know, while the benefit was still in existence. I also want to tell you about Julian. Julian was one of our volunteer call agents. And, you know, Julian, he told me that he couldn't walk away from the phone because he knew his friends, his neighbors, citizens from all across Canada were in desperate need. I think that day, the first day he was working on it, he took almost 200 calls in a single day. He said, I just couldn't walk away when there are people who needed my assistance. And again, it just makes me feel so proud to be a public servant. Now, I'll admit that not everything went rosy. I mean, there were long wait times, and there was, you know, anyways, our fair share of challenges. But I have to say, all in all, both our volunteer army plus the new AWS system responded extremely well in this unprecedented situation. But I do want to pause and simply recognize that, you know, again, this is a group of mainly public servants, and I just want to recognize that I know there's many of you out there as well who did extraordinary efforts as well during the pandemic in support of Canadians, and I just want to thank you as well for your service as well.
So the experience was not only gratifying and challenging at the same time, it also really got us thinking about the future of the contact center. And at the CRA, we call it the CRA Contact Center Next Generation. But first, we needed to learn how to walk. So when the CRA IT branch decided to adopt a multi-cloud strategy in 2018, it wasn't without the knowledge and understanding that would meant requiring significant level of efforts, upskilling, strategic foresight, while aligning with the GOC cloud strategy. So CRA actually has a large and complex application portfolio. It has over 665 applications. 90% of those are enterprise level at the protected B medium. So it is significant. And it was evident at that time that a hybrid model would be required. And the use of Pathfinders to learn the mean of how to develop and actually operate in the cloud would be key. So you see behind me the example of a hybrid cloud topology using the CRA AWS IaaS, Infrastructure as a Service, connecting to our on-prem via a secure cloud enablement and defense trusted interconnection, SCED, as many of you know. So why am I sharing and showing this to you? Well, this hybrid cloud architecture actually will be used to run a cloud-based service called Progress Tracker. What is that? This is to provide the ability for Canadians to actually see the progression of their tax and benefit service requests and understand where their request is in that timeline. It also is displaying on the call agent desktops the exact same request details so they can better help and support the Canadian. I showed you this topology because to also bring the awareness of the feasibility, but also the complexity of the hybrid, however, well worth the efforts and the business value that it will bring to the CRA, allowing us to learn, so now we can start jogging. And these cloud-based solutions, such as this one, using AWS, is bringing us closer to a seamless service experience.
I got to say, I'm glad Janique knows what this diagram means here. I just need the phone to ring. That's all I need to have happen. But you know, so the whole pandemic experience basically has got us thinking and preparing for kind of what the future of service delivery means for the Canada Revenue Agency. And it's very clear to us now that cloud will be, you know, sort of a foundational piece to help us improve service to Canadians in the future. It'll also be a key enabler to what we call our people's first philosophy. Again, kind of extending kind of our pandemic experience and how we can provide multiple service points or entry points to Canadians, no matter what their needs are and kind of what their preference is in terms of service, that we'll have an integrated service channel to guide them through to get what they need from us. We firmly believe that, you know, if citizens can feel more empowered, more supported, they will in turn be better prepared to comply with their tax obligations or to better receive the benefits in which they are entitled to. The slide behind us here kind of talks about some of those service channels, and we're working with AWS right now on a Pathfinder project to build a new CRA online chat function where Canadians can essentially click on a widget on our website, get connected to a CRA service representative in the background, and have a text conversation without the need to call. This will soon be connected to our chatbot, and they'll provide a more seamless journey across the technology.
So including learning and building on our cloud infrastructure and services, using contact center Pathfinder projects to help us plan and prepare for our contact center next generation so we can learn how to run.
Mm-hmm. Well, as we said before, both Janique and I couldn't be more proud for our experience during the pandemic and the opportunity to help Canadians who are in need of financial assistance. And we want to take that same spirit of innovation, that same spirit of partnership, and carry it forward in terms of delivering critical services to Canadians in the future as well. Thank you for your attention today, and I'd like to welcome Sean back to the stage.